This is the Grow My Clinic podcast by Clinic Mastery, where we help you deliver amazing client experiences to grow your clinic.
Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Jack O'Brien. Thank you for joining us on the Grow My Clinic podcast today. This is a solo episode today, and we're going to be talking about our core values at Clinic Mastery and how we created a values-driven business. And the principle for you here, the learning, is that you'll be able to create a values-driven business with the tools, the tricks, the tips that we share in this podcast today. So I'm really excited to delve into that nice and deep, how we have created a values-driven business at Clinic Mastery. Before we go there, I do want to talk quickly about your reviews on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, wherever it is that you listen to this podcast. I just want to say thank you. We really appreciate and value those honest reviews, ratings, the shares. We talked about that on the last episode. Thank you so much. It really does mean the world to us to get this message out there. And today, if I could ask, if this speaks to you, I would personally love to hear from you. Please email me, jack@clinicmastery.com. Nice and easy. I'd just love to hear from you. I'd love some engagement, interaction from you guys, our trusted listeners and podcast audience. So let's dive straight into it today, how we created a values-driven business and how you can do it also. A little bit of a backstory about Clinic Mastery, the people behind this Grow My Clinic podcast. We're often asked about how we created our core values. And if you're listening to this episode, you're probably pretty interested in how we did it because either A, you want to replicate the process that we used to help create your own core values, or B, potentially, you want to understand a little bit more about how Clinic Mastery operates and how we're a values-driven business. Either way, if you're thinking about using and infusing values into your private practice, in your clinic, you are in the right place. The reason that you're in the right place is because core values really are the representation of how you and your team consistently go about your business, how you do things around here. And it expresses your integrity. And as more and more practices open up for business, now more than ever, you need to stand out as a workplace of choice and the go-to clinic for health and wellness, both for your clients, your patients, and to attract great team members. Applying core values in your practice really is a way for you to distinguish yourself from the rest. So after going through the process of defining our core values and helping hundreds of other private practices do the same as part of our business academy, today we can help you identify and amplify the values that are core to your practice by sharing our experience. So we're going to jump around into 4 different sections of this podcast. We're going to talk about how core values are more than words, they are core actions. Number 2, why we decided core values were necessary for us. Section 3, the process we used to define our Clinic Mastery core values. And section 4, how we practice our values. Because the reality is that core values are more than just words. They need to be core actions. Values are the principles that govern and guide how you act or how you behave. They're expressions of your culture. Cultural expressions, cultural expectations even, of how you act as a team, how you engage with your clients, and what you do out there in the community. Core values are the things you do that define who you are and who you are committed to being as you grow. Core values represent the way you do business. They're verbs, they're doing words, they're actions, and therefore, core values really need to represent doing words. They need to represent these verbs. The reason we do this is because this means that we can filter all of our decisions through our core values so that our actions align consistently. Core values are not something you create. They're something that you identify and then amplify. So I'd put it to you, if you already have core values in your clinic, do you actually live them? The reality is that you already have core values. They already exist. They are already in you and in your team, because they are actually just a reflection of how you already go about business. But the question is, have you been deliberate about using them, about living them out? Most private practices will have unspoken expectations of how each person should show up each day. But the catch is that if you haven't defined your core values and created practices, behaviors around them, you're simply leaving your culture up to chance. You become reactive to how people feel or how they show up on any given day. You don't have a reference point or standard for people to align with, because you've never explicitly communicated the principles that you operate by. This can leave you vulnerable to inconsistencies in how you engage as a team, or even how you deliver your service. So, why did Clinic Mastery decide that core values were necessary for us? The two primary reasons we decided to go about this process were, number one, our clients and our community is growing rapidly and continues to expand exponentially. And reason number two was that our team was rapidly growing, and it still is. And the lesson here is that we're not perfect. We could have done this exercise sooner. We could have done it earlier in our journey. However, because of these reasons, our clients and community growing and our team growing was the perfect catalyst for us to go through this process. By defining our core values at Clinic Mastery, we were able to set some expectations of ourselves, how we would navigate our growth with a level of consistency and alignment that was world-class. And defining these expectations allowed us to keep ourselves accountable to delivering our service with a standard and flavor that is unique to Clinic Mastery, to who we are. Because we're always looking to do things more consistently. Because core values are not something that we just create. They're actions that you already display. We're simply identifying those and then amplifying them by using and infusing them in everything we do. It's about being more deliberate and consistent in the way you act or behave when you're at your best. So, what are the Clinic Mastery core values? If you haven't seen them around all the socials online, after hours of discussion going through the exercises I'm about to explain, we identified that the 4 Clinic Mastery core values are: number 1, keep it real. Number 2, make it happen. Number 3, be outcome focused. And number 4, bring the energy. And if we were to expand those, because we would encourage you to expand on your core values for us. Number 1, keep it real. We are frank. We're to the point in our feedback because results matter. We don't see it better or worse than it is. We keep it real. We walk our talk. Our practices are reflective of our experience and our advice. And we're humble. The section of keep it real is that we're humble. Our communication and content is genuine, and we're authentic in our delivery. Value number 2, make it happen. We follow through on what we say we're going to do for our team and our clients. We go above and beyond our expectations and outside of our role to get results every time. We make it happen. Value number 3, we bring the energy. We reframe below the line behavior by focusing on the positives, on positivity, and on the opportunities ahead. We are actively transferring enthusiasm and optimism to those around us. We bring the energy. The interesting part about this core value was that we originally started with have fun. The value was to have fun, but we thought that it was a bit generic, felt that fun was a bit superficial and short-lived, and it was a bit reactive. Many other outputs or emotions can be experienced, not just fun. So we wanted to focus on the input, which is proactive, by bringing the energy rather than the output of having fun. So therefore we changed it. We redefined, we identified the real value. Value number 4 is to be outcome focused. We clarify and we simplify the actions required ahead so that results are always achieved. We are obsessed about the outcome and finding new and better ways to achieve them. We do more with less. We are outcome focused. So there you go. There's an insight into our clinic mastery values and the experience that we had in the reasons behind why we needed to identify and then amplify our clinic mastery values. In part 2 of this podcast series, we're going to identify the exact process that we used to identify our core values, how you can amplify them, live them out in your clinic, and go through the same process. I hope that's been really interesting for you. It's something a little bit different, but a really insightful glimpse into behind the scenes of how we do things, the lessons that it might have for you. And in part 2, we really look forward to identifying the process we used, how you can implement it in your clinic. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for sharing your earbuds, maybe your AirPods, your car speaker system, your treadmill with us. We really appreciate you as our podcast community. I can't wait to bring some more value to you. Depending on when you're listening to this, there will be a live event coming in October. You can always check out, that's October 2018, but whenever you're listening to this, you can always check out clinicmastery.com/events to find when we're next in a city near you. Our events are not to be missed. They're always different, open to everyone. Please check it out. There you go. I really enjoyed that. Something a bit different. I hope you enjoyed it too. Thanks for sharing your reviews and ratings on iTunes or wherever you listen, for sharing this on social media, and I look forward to bringing you another episode really soon.
This is the Grow My Clinic podcast by Clinic Mastery, where we help you deliver amazing client experiences to grow your clinic.